Welcome back to another episode of Cheapskate Nation. Today we're going to do something a little bit different, maybe a little bit backwards. But today we're going to put a new exhaust on this truck. When I first built this truck, I hacked together an exhaust just to get it running. And yes, we are going to go from dual exhaust to a single exhaust, and here's why. Well, I'm kind of tossed up about it. Dual exhaust is really nice because you can see, if it's truly dual exhaust, you can really see, oh, this side of the engine's running weird, or this side of the engine's running weird. It kind of gives you a pointer where you can start at. But going to 2 into 1, we're going to quiet it down so that way I can actually really listen to the engine and help tune it in while I'm working on it in the garage. And to do that, I installed a decibel meter on my phone. So we're going to first start this thing up, get a reading now, and then put it all together, rework the exhaust, do whatever I got to do, and then take another reading and see how many decibels it dropped. It should drop. I'll go over the parts that I got and about how much I paid for them here in just a minute. So the first thing I got here is this muffler. It's a 2.5 inch in and a 2.5 inch out. One side says in and the other says out, I think. Or maybe just one says in and one says out. Inlet, perfect. So let's make sure we put this in correctly. And this is what we're going to end up doing, is using this pre-bent exhaust kit that I bought off of Amazon. It's got all sorts of pipes, pieces, and whatnot. One of the things I got to do is I got to come on down off the header of the driver's side, come down under the transmission somewhere at some point, and join it in to the driver's side. So it's going to be basically, I'm going to be making my own white pipe. I could have bought one for about $100 on Amazon. This whole exhaust kit cost me $92, and the muffler cost me another, I think that was $42, and these little joiner clamps so I could remove it if I wanted to go to the track and have it open pipe. I think those were about 20 bucks a piece too. So I'm into this about 150 bucks to put a better, quieter exhaust on it. I don't know if it's going to be better, but it's going to be quieter. At least that's the goal. So let's fire the truck up and find out what happens. Decibel at 85, 90, 88, 96. Let's go see what it is in the cab of the truck. So looking at this, looks like our max we clocked was 115 decibels. The camera will focus on that. That's pretty loud, and it makes it obnoxious to try to tune something when it's that loud. So we're gonna see if we could bring that down by 20 decibels. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to, but we'll find out. So I'm gonna get after lifting this thing up, crawling under there, and seeing what we can do to tear this exhaust out of it. And I just want to say I'm not proud of the first exhaust that I put on this. It was just a couple mufflers, piece of flex pipe that I got down there at whatever that auto parts store was back where I used to live, for like 26 bucks, like a 6-foot piece of it, and a couple of mufflers off of Jegs for 20 bucks a piece. I was happy. So we're obviously going to use some of what's there, but we're going to cut it off. We're going to put those nice bends. It might even pick up power. I don't know, because the smooth, nice bends on it. We'll find out. I am losing my mind. I had 4 jack stands at my old house. The Thunderbird sat on them. I got 2 now under the truck. Where'd the other 2 go? probably going to be right at the wrong height. Just like, you know, an extra inch probably would be perfect, but it's not. So here's a view of just how hacked together this exhaust is. We got this one coming down, running straight back, all the way down and out. And then we got this one right here that runs all the way down and back and out with an O2 sensor in it right there. So I think the plan is going to be to cut this out, bring a pipe in right here, cut it off right about here somewhere, and join it to this one and run it back and out and see where it goes. I don't know. Maybe put the muffler right up in this area, right where my hand is. Who knows? The other option is I could cut this out, run it back kind of like it is, and then drag it over. Another thing that I don't like is it like almost lays right on there. There's like a credit card gap and it makes noise when I'm working on it or when it's running. So I don't like that either. But I guess we'll get some pieces out and see what we can do. Actually, I just might run it straight back and dump it out the rear axle. That might be the best bet, looking at it. Huh. Right there. Right there. So I got one of the header adapter pieces out, cut it off, ground it down so I could re-weld it. I got some more cleaning to do on it. But all to save $1. Plus if you go and try to order these parts, who knows if they're gonna be the right parts when they get here, and that'd just delay it. So cutting it all down, sanding it all up, grinding it all up, make it all smooth again. Who knows? So we're under this truck. I've played with the exhaust 7 different ways and I'm not really happy with any of them. So what I'm gonna do is, and we're doing 2 into 1, which is kind of a pain in the butt, but let me flip the camera around here and let me show you a little cheat code or hack that I've learned along the way being a fabricator or metal fabricator in my past life, or actually 3 years ago. But just to help it so that way you know where you gotta put the line or make your next cut. So first things first, I've set the truck up so it's pretty level with the ground. And then you come over here, and you can see I got this piece of exhaust tubing that I've stretched out just a little bit. And the reason why is I'm planning to cut right there, straight down, so I could join my other tube up to it. So it's sort of like this. 1 second. Now this pipe's a little long, but maybe you can see it a little bit better. So this pipe's gonna run underneath the truck like this. We're gonna have to cut it down about 8 inches so it can fit better. But I need to know where exactly to cut this, and I want to cut it straight through and through. So I put this little piece on there, it just sits on there, and then I can make a mark on it with my pen. So having that mark there allows me to know exactly where to chop it. And that way it'll make it straight. When it joins up to there, I can weld it nice and easy right there. And what I'm actually probably gonna do is just scab on a piece about yay long and then use an exhaust clamp right about in here to hook up the rest. That way when I have to take the motor out, I could just boom here and boom up there and take it out again. So there's one little cheat code to help you do your own exhaust when you're laying on the ground on cold concrete, getting pissed off, trying to do this. That have done automotive work and seen how the downpipes come out of off of a 350 V8, or particularly like this. They come down, and then pop at an angle, and then finish coming down past the transmission. The reason why I got these two parts in here like this, stacked like that, is because the first one I clocked at that right angle that I needed. It's just like, you know, it comes off the flange and then it's clocked at like a 5-degree angle at most. And that's just to help hug it over towards the frame rail of the truck and not have it be all up next to the transmission. I wanted to center this kind of like right between the frame rail and the transmission, because inside the frame rail, granted the frame rail is heat resistant, or we make a heat shield, there's fuel lines running right there, so I didn't want to get too close to those. Yeah, so we're gonna let this cool off and jump over to the other side. On this piece, you can really see how much I had to kick it up at an angle. flat on the table. You can see it really has an angle to it. I mean, what to expect? Put a V8 in a truck that was never designed to have a V8 in it. Or maybe GM manufacturers actually did think about putting a V8 in this and just never actually did it. Comment down below what you think. Well, I didn't realize they were picking up my battery died in the GoPro. Second of all, the stand for my GoPro that I've been mounting you guys on underneath the truck just broke. So that was the second tripod that broke. Let me show you what actually broke here. That base right there, the GoPro sits in this. The base right there broke. I had built this little wooden stand for it to mount to, and with 3 feet on it, but that's broken. So now I'm just gonna have to hold the camera the whole time and shake all over the place. Hopefully you enjoy. So here's what we got going on here. So here's what we got going on so far. We got the down pipe on the driver's side. It's coming down along here. Let me get the light. And then it comes back and it crosses over. That bolt right up there in the center of the screen, that's gonna be I'm gonna mount to it and make an exhaust hanger, so that way this pipe's not hitting the transmission cross member. And then we come over here, we got this pipe, it's mounted straight in there like that, and you can see I already measured the height of each pipe, and right now from the floor up, they're both about 18 inches, so they're really close. I couldn't have asked for a better number. That might be a little close. The good thing is that's not a factory yoke, so it no longer has the plastic in it that holds it together. So that I don't have to worry about getting hot and melting out. It's just the heat might get the grease a little warm, I'm thinking. Yep, I screwed up. I should have put some grease or paint on the yoke, but whatever, didn't do that. So we're going to continue right along with this project and start figuring out the Y pipe and how we're going to mount it all, join it all together into one. So I know this doesn't look like much right now, but this is going to be my Y pipe. I cut this nice section out of this one, traced it, and cut a big gap out of that one, clean it up with the flapper wheel. These two pieces are going to go together just like this after they're welded, and then this will get lopped off right there, and now I got my Y pipe. And just like that, we have one Y pipe. It's actually going to be in the truck upside down like this in there, but look at how through and through that is. You can't really see through there, but that's what we're all about. Not bad on the welding. See, I was getting that welder dialed. I want to tell you guys right now that if you're not a welder, never fabricated anything before, the biggest part of making a good weld, or probably about half of making a good weld, is your fit up, your prep work, and making sure everything fits as good as it possibly can. And sometimes you're going to have to redo it 3 or 4 times to get it right. I mean, that Y pipe, could I do it better on my second go around? Absolutely. Is it going to work for what I'm doing? Absolutely. So keep that in mind. I'm going to cut the video here, get back to it probably first thing Friday night. So this is what I got going on right now. Down pipe done, clamps in, comes down here. Now I got to cut here, about 1 inch of it off, weld it onto here, and then this runs along here like that. Now to figure out how long this piece right here was going to be, I took the distance of the end of this pipe to what this pipe was, and then I subtracted the distance right here, which is 2 3/4 off. Since this is a slip fitting right here, I added an extra inch and about 1.5 inches there, because I can move this in and out, back and forth, to make it line up to wherever it needs to be here. and give myself a little bit of wiggle room. So I think we're going to go ahead and cut this off right here, test fit everything, and then pull it out, put it on the bench, and weld it up. And then we'll come back and weld this, and then we'll put another weld right here. And the idea is that if I ever need to take this out, I can loosen up this clamp, pull this all back, or I could just take these clamps off here and here, take off the collectors, the downpipes from the collector, and pull out the engine if I ever need to. We're trying to make this as service friendly as possible for future dates, so yeah. A little bit of time right now can save me a lot of headache in the future working on this truck. Alright, real quickly, we got it all tacked in up here. It's on its own. Got kind of some space issues here, but once I put a hanger in and hold it up, it'll be okay. It'll clear. One thing we got to do is put a bung in here for the O2 sensor. It's hanging right here. I wanted to be able to get true off of both the sides. I think it'll help it read a little more accurately. But we're going to pull this out, weld it all up, and then figure out some hangers. Well, I just buttoned up the exhaust, and now it's time to see. We're gonna first dive underneath it, show you guys what I did and how I hung it. Then we'll fire it up and see what the decibels are. Get some light action going on here. So we got the muffler in. That's just a cheapo Amazon 3-chamber muffler. Behind that, we got my glass pack, and then if you look way back up there, went up and over the exhaust, all welded up. I got an exhaust hanger right here, and that's one of two hangers right there. I just drilled a hole through the bed, or through the body, that pinch weld there, and then hung it down and tightened it up. And I mean, it's not going anywhere. Doesn't have as much play as, or slop, or whatever you want to call it. But I was also able to weld in my O2 sensor around the wiring here. I'm not sure if I like that. I think I got a little bit more wiring that I could pull out and reroute it up in the cab. But I'll tell you something. If you really want to help yourself out, tack weld on the back side of these nuts to these things, and it makes it a lot easier. But the first time ever using these clamps, at first I wasn't happy with them, but now I kind of like them. So as you can see, I have had the truck running a little bit because we were screwing around last night when Buddy came over, and we decided to run it, see what it sounded like. And well, I wasn't exactly happy with it, so that's why I put this in and added to it. So I guess the last thing we have to do is fire the truck up and see how it sounds and see what the decibels read. I don't know. Here's your time to guess if I'm lowering decibels or not, and put it down there in the comments. I'm curious as to how accurate this thing is, because it's quiet in the garage right now and it's reading 52, 40. Well, let's see what happens when I start the truck up. So right now we're at 84 in the cab. That's not much of a change. decibels. So that's a big difference. 107. Right now my air fuel gauge might not be working. It might be reading lean, so I don't know. Something's up with it. We're gonna get out of the garage because it smells like exhaust in here. But it's definitely a lot quieter. I think I can live with that for now. We'll see how it goes. I don't know if it's gonna change performance or anything else like that. I do know what the issue is yesterday. We kind of figured out an issue with the truck. And that throttle transition, basically in your primary bowls, in your primary circuit of your carburetor, one of them's working, one of them's not. So that transition from idle to full throttle, it's not happening. It's a little upset. Got to figure out what's wrong with it. But thanks for watching, thanks for liking, thanks for subscribing. If you like the way the truck sounds, give the video a thumbs up. Now, I mean, I'm happy with it. It's a little more enjoyable to drive on the street and cruise. So we'll get this thing out and about here soon enough. Good weather's coming. Catch you next time.